Hola, dear friends from the Círculo Liceo. My name is Benjamin Appl. I'm a baritone and I'm actually also a member of the Círculo, which is a big honor, and I'm so happy that I'm able to do this little video for you and particularly for the musical commission of the club. It's a very strange time here. I just want to say hello to all of you and hope that you're all well and healthy, and after so many weeks in a lockdown in Spain, I think you guys had it really quite tough there and struggled a lot being at home. Just want to send my love from London. I live in London. I'm obviously German, as you can hear, but lived for 10 years in London, and at the beginning of the lockdown I decided to stay here. I was thinking maybe to go to Germany because the health system there is better, and also how Boris Johnson here and his government in UK dealt with the situation in UK wasn't great, and I was a bit worried in the beginning, but nevertheless I stayed here. We have beautiful sunshine outside, almost as warm as in Barcelona, one of the greatest cities on earth as I find, and really an amazing place for living. I guess you have a good time there in terms of there's not as many tourists as normally, and the streets are not as packed with them, so maybe for now I hope you can go out for walks and so on. Maybe you enjoy your own city more than ever before. In this crisis, I think we have to focus on the real nice things and focus on the good things of the crisis, because there is always a danger to get tired of it and to get depressed by it. And there are so many aspects, obviously, which are so sad and negative, as like it is that the opera houses are closed and there is no music making apart from virtual music making. But I think these are really times where we think things, we connect with people we haven't been in touch for a long time, and really use the time in our best way. Yeah, Barcelona, I really love Barcelona. I've been there a few times now already. The first time I came as an Echo Rising Star to perform at the Palau concert. I came back last year to do a concert in the big hall of the Palau, and a few times for Live Victoria now. And also I gave a recital in the foyer of the Opera House of the Liceo in November 2018, and in all my stays I was able to make wonderful friends. That's also the reason why I decided being a member in the Círculo, as my wonderful friend Paco, who is the president, obviously, as you all know, is really very supportive, and it's wonderful to know these people and many others in Barcelona. Yes, I generally would have liked on one way to sing for you a song, but it's a bit tricky. We are all self-isolating in London, so there's no pianist around. It's easier maybe being an instrumentalist or pianist or whatever, to really where you can play and can make music on your own, but we singers, we need an orchestra, we need piano or any other accompanying instrument to make music together. So instead of that, I just thought maybe I would like to share my thoughts about these times, about music, and about really what could happen through this crisis with music. I think we have to face that things are changing massively, as we all know. Maybe the life as we are used to, particularly in music, might not be the same after Corona. Particularly musicians who are freelance struggle a lot. There are a few musicians in Germany and other countries who have fest contracts, or also in orchestras who have fest contracts, like symphony orchestras or opera orchestras, who somehow have a guarantee or the security of certain payments. But being a freelance musician or singer right now is quite tricky. A lot of the contracts are cancelled. Opera houses have to think ahead, have to cancel premieres or new productions, and really don't know where to go. And I think that's a terrible situation for all of us, not just for the musicians, but also for people like Valenti Oviedo, the general manager, or Victor Garcia in the opera house, who really struggle, I guess, to plan ahead and have security what they can do and what not. And I think therefore it is also hard for the musicians as well, not knowing exactly where we go when we start again performing, but also for the people who are behind this industry, like agencies. And for example, the big agencies like here in London really struggle with people like 60, 70 people in the office who put certain scheme supported by the government, so they get some money, but in the end they have no income, as no of the artists around the world who would have thought this would be possible, that no one around the world is really able to do music or to perform. And this is a properly most dangerous crisis we face. There are some governments like the Germans who really try to support the art. I hope you in Spain also get some feedback. Here in UK it's quite difficult because most of the politicians never mention music or art in their speeches. So I just think we all have to somehow stick together. I use the time really to connect with music, to look into repertoire, to look into music, to have ideas of programming, what repertoire I want to learn, what languages, translate the music. Really try to connect with the music again, because when you perform a lot and travel around, it's more like you run after a bull, and you always have to prepare new repertoire and prepare the new flights. And somehow from a life where you always were looking into the future, about which airplane do you have to take, when is the rehearsal and so on, suddenly changes into a life where you have to live in the now, not in the past and not in the future, but in the now. There's nothing really in the schedule. You have to face the recent situation in which you are right now. And I find that quite an interesting aspect of life I've never had before. And obviously in the beginning, the first few weeks were wonderful, because the body and the mind needed some rest. But slowly, everyone faces her own little evils inside, and you have to somehow face them. And it's an interesting aspect and an interesting moment in life, I think. A lot of musicians, I think, can't cope, particularly with this self-facing. And there's also, or there has been, particularly in the beginning, this huge live streaming. People were sending little videos, music making videos out from their homes, playing or singing in self-isolation. And I think it was originally a very nice and good intention. But on the other hand, we always have to know, and particularly also you who support music so much and love music so much, that all these videos, all these streamings can't really replace the life experience in opera house and concert halls. It is, for us artists, really so important to have an audience, to have this energy, this feeling of opposite, of really a dialogue, even if hopefully one side, the audience, is not saying any words or keep silent. But there is this idea of a live performance which enriches and actually influences the performer's performance on stage. And that's something I miss most. And all these live videos can't really replace that. There's also the danger that I think we cut ourselves in our foot doing that too much, having also free content online, where actually I think a lot of people, not you, as you are very sophisticated and have a lot of knowledge about music, but some people might stay at home because they think, why should we buy tickets to operas or concert performances if you can actually see that all online for free? There are these moments when you buy tickets for the opera or for concert halls that you really have to know that you're an active part of a performance, that you are really needed by the artist. It's not like a cinema where you buy a ticket and you think you are entertained by a screen and you don't have to react. It's something different. You really are, as I said, an active part of the performance. And that's what I think will be so special, and we might actually even recognize it more or value it more or be more grateful for these situations when we will be able to share live performances again. As I said, in live performances, the reaction of an audience are so important to us. And there's this wonderful story from the great German soprano Elisabeth Schwarzkopf I would like to share with you. She sang a recital in Germany, and in the first row there was an old lady sitting, and this old lady was always like gesticulating, like and Elisabeth Schwarzkopf went furious. She went off stage in the interval and said to the promoter, "You really have to remove this woman. She is so distracting. I can't perform like that." So the second half she went out, and this woman was still sitting in the first row, still doing the same gesticulations, and afterwards there was a queue for Elisabeth Schwarzkopf for signing, and suddenly this old little woman was standing in front of her, and the little woman, and Elisabeth Schwarzkopf was jumping at her, saying, "Why did you not leave the concert in the interval if you didn't like it, and your behavior was terrible, why did you not leave?" And the lady just was very insecure and said, "Oh, I just always thought, how can someone sing so beautifully?" So there is, I think the story shows wonderfully how a reaction of a member of an audience even can change a performance. In this case, maybe makes a performer feel uncomfortable, but generally we really need you, and so we really hope you will stay loyal to music, you will come back to performances as soon as that's possible. Let's see how that goes. In Germany they started now already slowly to come back and do performances with smaller audiences, and I think that's also a big chance for song recitals or chamber music. And maybe there will be some, I don't know, some performances in the Liceo where you can use a big space, but you just have to put the people far away from each other. And that's maybe where I'm lucky, as I'm doing a lot of song recitals, that maybe this kind of work can start before the big operas with big orchestras. I think the orchestra so close and narrow in the pit might be a problem, and also the many performers on stage. So it is a challenge, but maybe also a moment of creativity where we think, how can we change things? How can we reach out to audiences? Maybe we have to change our view of classical music, how we perform it, why do we perform it still this way, why do we keep traditions? I think traditions are wonderful, but from time to time we also have to rethink them and change things maybe, or adjust things, or add new things, or just change the point of view and the perspective. And I think these are all things which in this crisis we really should make the best out of it. I hope you listen to lots of music in CDs and albums and LPs and whatever you have. maybe you used the chance also to listen to operas or concerts you haven't done before or listened before or not for a long time. I really find it very enriching to listen to music I haven't listened to for a long time, old opera recordings, old singers. I think that's all a wonderful idea, and I really hope that the music world will survive with all of the help of the creative people who work in opera houses, in concert halls, who perform, their agents, everyone who is involved, but particularly also you, with your help, with your support, financially, but also spiritually and mentally, being there, and your interest in music and classical music. And very often in the past, when I look back, I think particularly in crisis, music was a real column of security where people sticked with, people valued it. And maybe this is also a crisis, hopefully, where despite all the challenges we have right now, financially and otherwise, where music really will be more again of a powerhouse of society, where people really appreciate it and are interested in it. And that's my big wish, next to that you all stay healthy and safe, and that we hopefully see again one day or meet for the first time. I send you all the best from London, all my best wishes to you. Until soon, bye bye.
Vergnügtem Sinn vertraulich zu der Flamme hin. Dann sitz ich mit vergnügtem Sinn vertraulich zu der Flamme hin. So leicht, so unbeschwert, so leicht, so unbeschwert. Ein trautes, stilles Stündchen bleibt man noch gern am Feuer wach. Man schürt, wenn sich die Lohe senkt, die Funken auf und singt und denkt. Nun abermal ein Tag, nun abermal ein Tag. Das Liebes- oder Leideseinlauf für uns dahergebracht. Was Liebes- oder Leideseinlauf für uns dahergebracht. Es geht noch einmal durch den Sinn, allein das Böse wirft man ihm. Es störe nicht die Nacht, es störe nicht die Nacht. Zu einem frohen Traume bereitet man Gemach sich zu. Wenn sorgelos ein holdes Bild mit sanfter Lust die Seele füllt, ergibt man sich der Ruhe, ergibt man sich der Ruhe. Oh, wie ich mir gefalle in meiner stillen Ländlichkeit, wenn in dem Schwarm der falschen Welt das irre Herz gefesselt hält. Gibt nicht Zufriedenheit, gibt nicht Zufriedenheit. Zirrt immer, liebe Heimchen, in meiner Klause eng und klein. Zirrt immer, liebe Heimchen, in meiner Klause eng und klein. Ich heul euch gern, ihr stört mich nicht. Wenn heut das Schweigen bricht, bin ich nicht ganz allein, bin ich nicht frei.